Hi, my name is Peggy LaPointe, and this is Talking Trash, a Green Tips podcast, a chance for me to dive into the world of environmental issues by talking to people in business, government, and nonprofits, folks knee-deep in the field of sustainability. Talking Trash is brought to you by the Energy Management and Water Conservation programs at Lane Community College. Both our 2-year degree programs are fully online, and employment opportunities are growing in the water conservation and energy management fields. For more information on these online 2-year degree programs, go to lanecc.edu or find the direct links at KINK.FM. The energy and water programs are funded by the National Science Foundation, and scholarships are available. Talking Trash is also supported by Biketown. Biketown is Portland's bike share program with 1,000 bikes and over 100 stations across downtown and several neighborhoods. Now's the time to ride. Ride over to biketownpdx.com. Welcome to Talking Trash. Episode 11 features John Ashcroft, Manager of Receiving and Recycling at the nonprofit Free Geek. John, you are the Manager of Receiving and Recycling and Chief EHS Compliance Officer. What does EH&S mean?
Environmental Health and Safety.
Perfect. And how long have you been with Free Geek?
I started interning in 2010, so this is 9 years for me. After about a year, I got hired. After a couple more years, I became a supervisor, and then a couple layers of management.
So maybe when I did take the tour in 2004, you were probably one of the folks that spoke to us.
Yeah.
That was my first, was it my first introduction? I think we may have taken items there beforehand, but that was one of my big first introductions to Free Geek, is touring with Master Recycling, Master Recycler program. And I think that was one of the great things about the Master Recycler program is finding out about nonprofits like Free Geek. So an overview, you can't really fit it into an elevator speech, but an overview of what Free Geek, who Free Geek is and what Free Geek does.
Yeah, so we're a local nonprofit in Portland, and we use surplus technology to change lives. We focus on reuse. We want to take your old laptops and your computers and your company's old laptops, give them a good check over, repair some minor things, put a new operating system on it, do all the data security, and then give it back out to the community. So we can give computers to our volunteers for free, volunteer 24 hours, get a free computer. We have a Plug into Portland program where K-12 school kids in the metro area can volunteer, I think, at any nonprofit for 24 hours and then come to us to get a free computer. You can find all that info on our website. But we also grant out computers to nonprofits. If you're a nonprofit in the metro area, check us out at freegeek.org and look for our grants program. We do a lot of education. So we have free 2-hour classes pretty much every day. And they cover topics from getting started with your computer to advanced data security online and programming and everything in between.
A whole lot.
Yeah. So, we're trying to get computers out. We have a reuse store where you can buy an affordable computer. So if you don't want to do the volunteer program or you need a higher-end MacBook, you can come to us and get an affordable computer while supporting the idea of reuse. And that's really what we're about. It's kind of solving the digital divide, getting people who don't have access computers, and also the environmental e-waste problem. If you can reuse a laptop, then you basically bypass all of the environmental impact of mining and manufacturing and shipping a new one. And that's huge. I wish I had numbers, but thousands and thousands of pounds of raw material mined just to make, the little circuit boards. Right.
A lot goes into that. And you touched upon it briefly. One thing that has been the core of Free Geek is not just the sustainability aspect of it, which is huge, but also the digital equity, helping folks who don't have access to computers on a regular basis be able to have one in their homes. And there are a lot of, I've got 2 kids, a middle schooler and a high schooler, and so much needs to be done on a computer. And so for kids who don't have access to that at home, this is a great opportunity for them to have one, either, like you said, through the store or the many ways that you can volunteer to earn that.
Yeah, and that's really one of the kind of most impactful stories I hear. You know, there are definitely school kids sitting outside their closed school or a McDonald's on their phone trying to write their reports. And I'm a little bit older than that generation, but I can't imagine trying to like do word processing on a phone in any sort of efficient way.
No.
And I'm super proud of our Plug into Portland program because, like I said, you can volunteer anywhere that, you know, kind of qualifies as a nonprofit. A little bit of paperwork, come get your free computer. So we really want to reach as many people as we can.
When I toured, one of the things that was fascinating, and again, this was years ago, so I can't imagine what the operation looks like now, but different stations where this technology was being either looked at to see if it was, if you were able to refurbish it and give it the upgrades, or the dismantling and making sure that, you know, each of the components got to certain areas so that they can end up, you know, getting recycled. So there's a lot that goes on underneath, you know, in your four walls at that building.
Yeah, and we welcome volunteers in a lot of the areas. We've evolved over the last few years to get a little bit more professional, to get a little more nailed down on, well, a lot more nailed down on data security and environmental responsibility. So we won't have volunteers helping people, you know, unload their cars anymore, because if you give your cell phone to a random volunteer, we couldn't track that all the way. Right. So now we have a secure data area. The first thing we do when we get your donation, sort out anything with data, put it in there. Only staff are handling it, and it doesn't leave that cage until all the data has been either securely wiped or physically destroyed. And we follow industry standard best practices for that, and we're kind of regularly audited on our environmental health and safety management system. But after we've pulled out any of the data and done some quick triage, then volunteers can get involved. And we have volunteers sorting kind of boxes of miscellaneous stuff into like cords, things without cords, and things that are attached to cords as phase one. And then you go farther and you sort out, here's the cords that we need to reuse this week, and here's what we have surplus. And then really the core of our volunteer program that I've always been involved in is the recycling. And so we have families with fairly small kids, we have individuals, we have school groups and business groups who'll come in and take apart desktop computers and smaller devices. And that's a lot of fun. If you want to like see the guts, get a little bit dirty, and kind of destroy the technology that you've been working with for a long time. Of course, we focus on safety and environmental management. I can talk all day about the recycling part, and maybe we'll loop it back around to that and some of the materials we cover. But our reuse area has opportunity for interns, and we have a new program called the Tex Academy. And that's a 7-session program where you come in on a consistent schedule, and we teach you a lot about the process of refurbishing laptops. We kind of came to that from a weird place. We've always had volunteers helping us refurbish laptops, but either we were teaching them the way we do it, which with specialized software, and our flow is only a little bit useful if you're going to like build your own from scratch.
Right.
And if we're teaching you to build a laptop and you build one and then you leave, it's not as productive. So we've kind of separated that so we can focus on churning out as many good computers as we can, while also having a separate intensive education program so we can teach you about the things you don't need to know to help us, but you might want to know, and as an intro to kind of the tech fields.
Exactly. So I work part-time at Metro in the Recycling Information Hotline, and you know about this, but there's a program in Oregon called Oregon eCycles, where you can recycle computers, laptops, monitors, and printers for free. And one of the questions that comes up often is, what happens to my hard drive? And there are a few places. I mean, there are lots of places where you can drop these off, but there are a handful of places in the Portland area where the items, the hard drives, get destroyed. And you guys are always one that comes up. So you do that. That gives, makes people feel pretty comfortable about that then too.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, data security is among our top priorities. safety, environmental health and safety management, but data security comes before reuse. If we can't wipe the data, we're going to destroy it. And maybe we cry a little bit when we do it, but we're going to do it.
Right.
And we're able to destroy, all the data on hard drives, that sort of thing. One of the tricky things is newer iPhones and even Android phones. If you don't disconnect it from the Find My iPhone service, then there's nothing we can do with it. It's just kind of a brick for us. So if you're going to donate a phone to a friend or to Free Geek, make sure you disconnect it from any online services with Apple or Android.
That's good to know.
But yeah, for data security, we're going to either wipe it securely using the software that can do that without connecting it to the internet, or we're going to punch a big hole right through the middle of the drive. And if you donate, you can always come, see examples of that. Businesses who need more assurance, we're going to do the same process, but we'll document it. And there's a bit of a fee for that, but we'll actually write down the serial number and sign each item for here are the hard drives we found, and here's how we either wiped them or destroyed them.
Right. So, and how important, because you get a lot of donations, a lot of it comes from business, and you are working with a lot of folks who are volunteering their hours to earn a computer. So you probably go through quite a few of those. I would imagine these donations from businesses play a key part in helping to keep those programs running. Yeah,
absolutely. When we talk about our ability to reuse, kind of overall, we're able to reuse about 30% of the computers that come in the door. But that's a lot of someone clearing out their basement with 25 years of computers. When we just focus on the reuse rate from bigger businesses or government agencies, it's closer to 80%.
Yeah.
These are computers that are 2 to 5 years old that were probably pretty high quality when they were new, and they're decommissioned rather than they broke and came out. So we're always looking for new business partners who have quality computers that we can help get reused.
Yeah.
Mayor Wheeler sent out a call to action to local businesses just last year that basically said, City of Portland recognizes the value of reuse and supporting the digital inclusion initiatives, and to please join the city in checking out Free Geek, which again you can do at freegeek.org.
Perfect. And I was looking at your website. There are a lot of programs that we were talking about off the air that have sort of come to fruition over the last 6 years. Those internships also that you have. There's over a half dozen. There's probably a dozen now that I think of it. Explain some of those, because they're pretty wide-ranging as well.
Yeah. So in my department, receiving, sorting, and recycling, we like to have as many as 1 to 2 interns kind of all day, every day. And when I'm getting people set up with those, I basically say by the end of the internship, if you give us 100 hours and you really want to learn rather than just take stuff apart, you can be doing everything that staff are doing except driving the forklift and going to meetings. So that's a lot of, can include training other volunteers to do basic tasks, doing quality control on what the other volunteers have done, a lot of sorting, a lot of special deconstruction, and kind of warehouse logistics. You'll be moving the big boxes on pallets around. You'll be really prioritizing what needs to happen at a given time, because we're kind of special and we have no control over what comes in the door.
Right.
So some days are a little bit slow and interns have to get creative to find something to do. Yeah. And a lot of days, we got a surprise 6-pallet donation and we just need to get it out of the way, within a couple days. Other internships, I think we've just reopened online sales internships, which is one that I'm most excited about. I used to be more involved in our online sales program, and it's really a skill that you can, if you know how to sell stuff on eBay, you can start your own business based out of thrift stores.
Right.
And that's what I did before I came here. I've always been excited about recycling, but I spent about 10 years selling used books on the internet. And it's the same principle, right? Why manufacture something new if there's something of value that you can get back to someone who wants it at a lower price? Everybody wins.
Absolutely. And these internships, I think I saw maybe 8 to 10 hours, or more than that a week. How many hours a week are you looking for these internships if you've got a couple going at a time for each of these areas?
Yeah, great question. A general rule of thumb, I think, is about 100 hours over about 3 months.
Okay.
So at 8 hours a day for 8 hours a week for 3 months is kind of a good base. And every department has different needs. And, if someone's like, I want to do 20 hours a week for a month and a half, or like I did 24 hours a week for 7 months, sometimes it stretches from like the internship to just a really core volunteer. But we've had tens of thousands of volunteers throughout the years.
Yeah.
And we've been here for 19 years.
Exactly, a long time. And I forgot to mention that. It was Earth Day 2000 when you were founded, and the store opened later that year, September 1st. But these volunteering, and I've done it in a number of different settings, gives you such a great opportunity to learn, and especially, like I said, the wealth of volunteer internships at Free Geek was really exciting, especially as I sit here with two boys who, need to build skills in order to become successful and find their way. That's what I love about nonprofits, is there's just so many different things that you can do. You talked briefly about numbers, and the numbers are pretty impressive. These are on your website. In 2017 alone, 1,155,000 pounds of e-waste collected.
Yeah, I would update that to about 1.5 million this
crazy.
year.
Yeah.
And as I said, of that, about a third of it gets reused, and the rest will recycle responsibly.
Yeah.
And we reuse through our free computers programs. There's a lot of them. We can find those again at our website, freegeek.org. Our retail store is a big driver of reuse. And I should point out that demand is the most important factor for the success of any reuse program. Yeah. Whether it's at Free Geek or Scrap or the Rebuilding Center or a thrift store or eBay, if there's nobody who thinks first, like, I should check out if there's something that meets my needs used, usually at a better price. If you skip that step, then everything's recycling. And,
right.
Of course, reuse is what everybody here in this room wants.
Exactly. And it's true. We when we purchased phones for our kids, it was refurbished. When I got a laptop, it was refurbished. There's a lot of value in that, in reusing something that already has a lot of value that just gets an upgrade. And so I don't know if it's a Pacific Northwest, a Portland area focus that seems to be quite impassioned here. Many people see the value in that. Otherwise, the Rebuilding Center wouldn't have had to move to a number of different spaces. Scrap, same thing. You have expanded and taken up the whole block that you're in.
Yeah.
I think people in the area see the value in that. I want to list off a couple more numbers. Volunteer hours, again, 2017, almost 50,000 volunteer hours. The classes that you mentioned, about 400 hours. And then 42,000 items returned to the community. Diverted over 1.3 million items from the landfill. Huge.
Yeah.
Those are impressive numbers.
Yeah. I could update a couple of those.
That's
if I don't bore people too much. So I'd say since 2000, we've counted over 1.5 million items in our database that we collected. And that's usually a whole box of cords counts as one. So obviously, if you think small items, it's a lot more. As far as volunteers go, we've had 40,000 individual volunteers come into our database. And together they've donated over 1 million hours of volunteer time over the last 19 years.
Yeah.
We've granted out more than 35,000 items of technology to nonprofits, schools, community change organizations. We've provided over 10,000 computers to our volunteers and students in exchange for their community service. And we've provided service over 250,000 times to individuals and 15,000 times to organizations.
Nice. And so if I'm a business and I am upgrading my computer systems, how do I go about connecting with Free Geek and donating those things?
Yeah, you can always just walk into, I was going to answer it the other way. If you're a business and you're going to upgrade, but you don't need brand new computers, just walk into our store and talk to our staff about a kind of bulk discount on 50 computers for your whole office.
And if I want to update brand new and donate?
Yeah. So a couple options for donating. We're open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 6. You can just stop by anytime. There are no fees for donating your items. You can just bring it in the door. We'll give you a tally slip. You'll get a tax receipt. Our front desk will probably let you know that we can always use optional donations of cash. That's a big part of what helps us pay for all the work we do to give away free computers.
Right.
All the data security stuff isn't funded any other way. We just need to make that up through our various funding sources.
Yeah.
And it can be that simple. You just stop by, leave us your stuff. We also offer a pickup service, so if you've got more than you can easily fit in your car, you can go to our website, freegeek.org, schedule a pickup. Right now there's a $120 kind of flat fee for a pickup, whether that's a TV in your living room or, a couple hundred computers in your office, and we're happy to work with everyone on their needs.
Yeah.
And of course, as I said, data security is always assured for anything we accept, whether you donate it, whether you do the pickup. The additional service of a certificate of data destruction is only if you need the paperwork, but you can rely on us for data anyway.
And you touched on this as well. Monetary donations go far.
Yeah.
They help pay for a lot of the programs that you guys do in the community. So anyone who wants to donate, I notice there's a donate button right on your website, freegeek.org.
Yeah.
And then for folks who want to volunteer, how do they go about doing that?
Stopping in is a great way to do it. We offer free tours to the public Tuesday through Saturday at 11 and 4 o'clock. You can just stop in 10 minutes early, get your name on the list, and we'll walk you through the whole building. You don't have to want to volunteer. You can just want to see the guts of the building and all our processes in action. And at the end of that tour, you'll get a volunteer number if you want it, and then you have to schedule on our shift.
Perfect.
If you want to do an internship, you can apply online, but it's usually best to take the tour even before you do that.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Tex Academy as the kind of intro education program for our reuse department. I believe that is a prerequisite for our current reuse internships.
Okay.
So let us train you on the basics, and then if you want to stick around and help us build computers, then sign up for an internship.
But anyone can do the TEDx classes.
The Tex, T-E-C-H-S.
Thank you. TEDx. It's in everyone's vocabulary now. Thank you. Yes, anyone can take those classes, though, and learn about different systems in the computers.
Yeah, I believe you need to be able to commit to kind of the schedule for the 7 classes. We usually say if you're under 16 years old, you need to have a parent volunteering alongside you. But, yeah.
And moving forward, so this is year 19. You guys are probably at capacity. Have you talked about next steps? I mean, you've grown quite a bit in these 19 years.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, and we're growing. We're improving our use of our current space. We're working with a nonprofit group called Lean Portland to kind of optimize some of what we're doing. We've done a series of remodels. We're implementing new software that should help streamline the process.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got a little bit more room to grow in our current space, but our ambitions are higher, and we're certainly looking to expand to another facility, either east or west, make it easier for people to access our services, make it easier for people to donate. And, yeah, we would like to triple our output in the next couple of years, and we can see that happening.
Awesome. John, thank you so much for joining me today.
Sure, my pleasure.
Thank you for joining me for my conversation with John Ashcroft, Manager of Receiving and Recycling at the nonprofit Free Geek. If you've missed any of the previous podcasts, you can find them at our website at KINK.FM. Be sure to like and subscribe to Talking Trash, a Green Tips podcast on Apple iTunes or wherever you're listening. Talking Trash is a podcast series featuring people in business, government, and nonprofits, and sometimes just regular folks in the Portland area and around Oregon who are having an impact in the world of sustainability. Talking Trash is brought to you by the Energy Management and Water Conservation programs at Lane Community College. Both our 2-year degree programs are fully online, and employment opportunities are growing in the water conservation and energy management fields. For more information on these online 2-year degree programs, go to lanecc.edu or find the direct links at KINK.FM. The energy and water programs are funded by the National Science Foundation, and scholarships are available. Talking Trash is also supported by Biketown. Biketown is Portland's bike share program with 1,000 bikes and over 100 stations across downtown and several neighborhoods. Now's the time to ride. Ride over to biketownpdx.com.